Good morning, and welcome to day one of the Kitchen Witch Chronicles. I don't really know what to anticipate in this video, but I have to say that I've been kind of hanging on to some information that it's time to let out. So those of you that watch my channel, you probably know that I like to read cards, and I usually have a huge stack of cards that I read from. But what you may not know is I also love to cook. I also love nutrition. I'm obsessed with the lunar cycle, the female cycle. I've struggled a lot. And I'm kind of in the process of coming home to myself, figuring out how to make this life worth it, how to make the most of my body, not in a punishing way, but really having that balance of balancing nourishment and enjoyment. And I've read a ton of books. I've read more than this, but this is just what I had. And what I want to say from reading all these books and doing all these experiments on myself is that the answers aren't in here. These are really good books. They're very helpful. They're very entertaining. You might pick up some things in here that kind of blow your mind open and you're like, whoa, that is so helpful. That helps me so much. But you are not a computer. There's no code or program for you. You have to do the work to figure yourself out, to figure out what works for you, for your body, for your lifestyle. You're just such a unique person that it's gonna take time, baby. It's gonna take time to figure it out. And while I feel like I've been on this journey for a lifetime, I feel like I've independently studied nutrition for over a decade. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure this ish out. So if this is something that you're interested in, I'm going to start spilling the tea, spilling the witchy secrets. And I think in this video, what I really want to talk about is fasting, and maybe fasting with the new moon. So if you're not familiar with fasting, which I'd be surprised if you weren't, because it's all over the internet, there's lots of physical benefits to fasting, right? But people also do it for spiritual reasons. And we could really go on and on and on about all those benefits. And the reason, if you ever decide to do a fast, that would be unique to you and why you're doing it. But I think what I want to do is I'm kind of in my soft life chronicles, and I'm trying to take the pressure and the rigidity out of things and really just tailoring all of this stuff to my life and what feels good, removing the guilt, removing the pressure, and just doing it a way that's fun and intuitive. So if you are a woman, if you have a cycle, I would highly recommend that you, 1, track your cycle. 2, if you have any interest in doing any fasting, do it during the proper window. And this is going to be different for everyone, but when I give this information, I just want to say it's based off of my experiences and my cycle, and a little bit off of some books I read. But like I said, it's not gonna line up exactly. You really have to figure out what that is for you. But there are definite times where it is absolutely counterintuitive, counterproductive to fast. And this might feel kind of obvious, but it's that 10 days leading up to your period. You absolutely don't want to do fasting. It is not beneficial for your hormones. And okay, so that already sounded kind of extreme. So I don't want to say you absolutely don't do fasting. Listen to your body. So if your body is hungry, feed it. If you have a bellyache and you don't want to eat anything, obviously don't eat anything. You know what I mean? Let's get intuitive about it. But so what I've noticed lately is that my cycle, thankfully, has started lining up with the new moon again, which I think is freaking great. It's super witchy. So the new moon, it kind of represents cleansing and clearing. And so I think my bleeding phase is kind of lining up with that. But I want to say that so what happens? The first 2 days of my period, I like to make sure that I'm nourishing. Also, it's kind of a transition period because I do a lot of good eating, like the 10 days before my period, right? And there's definitely indulgence in that. There's cravings that happen during that time. There's nutrients I want to make sure that my body gets. And then so during those first 2 days of the bleed, which can kind of be intense for most people, that is like the heavy bleeding time. It might be the time where you have a lot of pain, a lot of cramps. It's like you're not feeling well. Sometimes you really need to treat yourself like you're sick, because you kind of are, you know what I mean? Your body is just going through like an intensive experience. It's kind of draining. So those 2 days, I like to make a seaweed soup, which is something that is Korean. And in Korea, they eat, it's called miyeokguk, and they eat it during like pregnancy, right? But also they eat it every day on their, every year of their birthday. So like on the day of your birthday, they eat that as like a celebration. I'm kind of obsessed with Korean culture, and it's because I was a Korean linguist for 10 years. So yeah, so there's that. This is why this is kind of like tied into it. But anyway, so like it's a really great thing to eat during the first 2 days of your cycle. And then after that, like, especially between, I would say like 5 and 10, that's when I'm going to consider doing some fasting. Like for me, I monitor my blood sugar, not always by like, like a tool, like a Keto Mojo or something, but I monitor it like the way that I'm feeling. Like I can sense in my body when my blood sugar is feeling off. So I really like to take that time to trying to get into some longer fasting if I can. I don't think I'm really in the discipline anymore where I can force myself to eat a low carb diet like regularly. It's really not working for me, honey. Like it helped at times, but I'm really obsessed with food, and yeah, it just wasn't good for my soul. I think it was kind of leaning into like kind of binge restrict cycles, which I really try to avoid. So that being said, that's why I'm kind of getting on this new moon fasting hype, right? So you do what works for your cycle, your body. If you have a cycle, if you don't have a cycle, you could follow along with this. But anyway, I think I'm going to start like a ritual where I start fasting during the new moon. And for me, that really works because, like I said, my cycle just happens to line up with it in a way that suits me. So if that is something you're interested in, if you would be like interested in doing this with me, let me know in the comments down below. Because then I can take you kind of through how I prepare for the fast, how I break the fast, and kind of finding ways to keep not only your body balanced, but like your mind balanced, during this whole fasting thing. So sorry if that felt like rambling. I'm a card reader. I talk intuitively. It is kind of difficult sometimes for me to put out these like informative videos. So like while I have a lot of information to offer, it's just sometimes it's not in my flow. Like I'm excellent at having conversations. That's why card reading comes kind of easy, because it feels like I am having a conversation like with you, with spirit. But with this, like I'm digging out some information from the archives of my brain, and it gets a little bit challenging. So sorry if this was a mess. If you'd like more information, any suggestions, ways that I can maybe improve these videos, feel free to comment. I just wanted to drop this out into the ether in case anybody was interested in it, because I'm kind of getting into this phase of my life where I'm able to better kind of incorporate these like witchy things and like also my love for food and being a foodie. And I think they're just gonna come together beautifully, especially with the lunar calendar, lunar cycle. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I think I'm gonna record a card reading because I feel a lot better about that. I hope you have a great week.